Upon arriving in Los Angeles with Janine, Pommy, Vega, and her new boyfriend, Israel Halpern, Huncke placed a call to Charley and Plymell, a 33-year-old poet and San Francisco dock worker. Since they'd never met, Herbert quickly mentioned their mutual friend, Ginbserg, who had apparently told him about Plymell. Amused by Huncke's ingratiating phone manner, Plymell invited him and his traveling companions to San Francisco. In short order, Huncke became close friends with Charley and his wife Pamela. Like so many of his other new friends, they suddenly found themselves without a typewriter. Their borrowed IBM Selectric, quite a prize at the time, vanished after one of Herbert's visits. Charley said, "He wouldn't take more than you were worth. Typewriter here, TV set there. His thievery depended on how badly he needed junk or heroin." The Plymells were just the sort of admiring, good-hearted souls that Huncke liked to cultivate. In his apartment on San Francisco's Oak Street, they noticed how he had decorated the room with firecracker wrappers and shaded the ceiling's bare light bulb with an East Indian blanket. Huncke was, in Charley's opinion, elegant even in his austerity. Isn't that a beautiful phrase? At a reading, they sat mesmerized as he read from Burroughs' Naked Lunch. According to Pam Plymell, when Huncke read, you knew you were hearing great literature. He had the most gorgeous voice that just drew you in. Though traveling light in the literal sense, Huncke had brought his drug dependency to San Francisco, and that was a heavy load to bear. He could spend only limited time giving readings and enjoying the company of new friends like the Plymells because he had to work the streets. To pay for drugs, he began selling what Pommy and Vega called fake LSD to naive flower children. Wearing a trench coat with a pocket full of blotter paper dotted to look like the popular drug, he plied his trade in the hate. It actually worked for a while, as one hippie after another fell for the ridiculous scam. Then one day, a past customer recognized Huncke on the street and began striding toward him in a purposeful rage. In the moment he spotted the man on the opposite end of the block, Huncke realized he was about to be hit by a car. Oh, this only happened to Huncke. The next thing he knew, the car propelled him off the sidewalk and slammed him against the storefront's plate glass window. Staggering to his feet, a bloodied Huncke refused to wait for an ambulance. He feared he would be arrested and sent to prison yet again. He'd spent almost all of the 1950s in prison, and in the 60s he was in and out of jail for just sort of low caliber drug charges, so he didn't want to go back there. His habit was putting his life in danger. He overdosed on heroin while staying with his old friend Irving Rosenthal, who had moved back to his hometown of San Francisco. Rosenthal watched in consternation as a mutual friend walked Huncke back and forth in an attempt to sober him up. After Huncke recovered, Rosenthal told him to move out. As much as he liked Herbert, he wouldn't tolerate his reckless behavior. Ginbserg remained on the case. Ginbserg was always hovering, always wanting to help, and often actually helping. During a California visit, Ginbserg tried to take Huncke to see an Indian faith healer. Peter Orlovsky, Ginzberg's partner, and Peter's brother Julius came along for the long ride, during which Huncke sat miserably in the back seat of the car with Julius. After they stopped at a store where the other customers gaped at them and Julius downed soda after soda, Huncke told Ginbserg he couldn't continue. At last, Ginbserg really looked at him and commented on Huncke's sickly appearance. As Huncke recalled the episode, Peter said, "Let him suffer." They turned back, however, and the visit with the faith healer never happened. Ginbserg then found a detox program at Mendocino State Hospital. Built in 1889 and formerly known as the Mendocino State Asylum for the Insane, The hospital was a depressing place where many patients had died over the years. When it closed several years after Huncke's stay there, more than 3,000 bodies, along with the cremated remains of nearly 1,700 others, were exhumed from the hospital grounds and moved to a cemetery in a nearby town. Janine, Pommy, Vega, and Charley Plymell drove Herbert to the hospital in Talmadge, about 2 hours north of San Francisco. Sailing up the coast in a convertible, the threesome looked like carefree tourists. Reality only intruded at a roadside diner. A sugar-craving Huncke poured a generous quantity of syrup all over his stack of pancakes. Within minutes, he went into a nod, his face dropping right into his plate of food. When a waitress came to the table, Huncke raised his sticky face to her and said, "I know you people think I'm insane, but I am."